Very good morning to you folks. It's Easter Saturday, back to the bike here in the middle of the COVID-19 breakout. So just a little bit of motorbike chat today. Going to talk to you about my USB modification. I'm going to talk about an upcoming project as well, fitting some crash bungs, and just a general chat. Hope you're all well. So tune in and let's see you in the comments, shall we? Not sure whether those of you outside the UK are aware of the situation that we have here in this country, but at the moment we are being discouraged to go out to actually make any kind of social contact unless we have a medical emergency or we need to go out to buy some necessary food. So what that means is that we're all stuck at home. So I guess I'm quite sort of blessed in that respect. You know, we have a few acres here. A few years ago I decided I wanted to own my own little piece of England, so invested in a property, and here we are. We sort of grow a lot of our own sort of fruit and veg and so forth. We keep a few chucks as well. So but wherever you are, you know, my thoughts are with you at the moment, and as I say, maybe now is the time just to, all those projects that we keep putting off until we get around to it, now is the time to actually get into them. So for me, that's I've got to fit some Evotech crash bungs, so just let me show you those. Yes, here are the Evotech crash protectors, or bungs, or whatever you want to call them. I've had these since Christmas actually, just haven't got around to fitting them. Just one of those jobs I kept putting off, and actually what's stopping me at the moment is I need a particular size socket to actually attach my socket set to the hexagonal bit, which is I'm going to use to take out the engine mounting bolts. But that'll be the next, probably be the next video when that bit arrives. Not cheap, these, 250 quid, but it does seem that if you look around on the web and you look at some of the Ducati Monster forums, that these are the ones that I prefer just in terms of their stylishness. And essentially they just offer a very simple protection should the bike topple over, or actually should the bike get into a skid. So I'll be fitting those. I'll make a short video. I think it's quite a simple job, so I think it's one of these that in theory even I can do, but as you know, with my sort of previous on this particular topic, sometimes I make hard work of things. I'm not really sort of a natural mechanic, so but it gives you all a good chuckle anyway. But yeah, that'll be the subject of a future video. Okay, so you can see here I've got a USB-C connector which disappears mysteriously under my seat. So let's just whip the seat off and I'll show you what I've done there. It's actually quite a simple job. I'll do this one-handed. There we are. Right, so there's a few things going on here. So what I hadn't realised was there's actually a socket here which you can take the top off, and I assumed it was some kind of diagnostic socket. I think you can also use it for attaching an SAE connector to the engine. But also, if you go onto Amazon, you can actually buy a dedicated Ducati plug, which very simply just plugs into that, and the other end actually comes out as an SAE connector. The SAE connector I've actually attached to a dual USB socket, and you can see that under the seat there it's actually protected from the weather and the rain. So and what that enables me then to do is to run this USB-C cable all the way up here, and it just perfectly fits. Actually, I did wonder about routing this underneath the tank, but I think that was going to be a bit too complicated. I certainly didn't want to be taking my tank off. So what I've elected to do is just basically keep it there, and then when the seat goes on, it just simply runs up here, and it's just long enough then to fit into the side of my GoPro Max. And what that basically means is now the GoPro Max, whenever I go out on a ride, is permanently powered. One of the downsides of the GoPro Max is, I think generally with all GoPros, is the battery life isn't particularly great, certainly not as good as the Drift Ghost cameras. But what this means is now that I've got permanent power, GoPro Max I normally find will give me about an hour and probably hour and 20, something like that, maybe an hour and a half on its sort of standard hero mode. But if you go into the 360 mode, then it drops right down to just over an hour, really, an hour and 10 minutes, something like that. But what I've now got is basically permanent power, and I've also got the facility here that if I do decide to actually get out on tour or get out on any sort of further rides, I've also got an additional USB port there which I could probably connect up to a tank bag or some kind of tail bag and recharge batteries or power packs or other stuff, you know, heated neck warmers, whatever I want to do. The Ducati microwave option. I could plug those into that. So the first thing you need is the Ducati plug socket, which ends in an SAE connector, and then you get the SAE connector socket, which then joins into the USB double socket. So it's probably cost, I'm guessing, probably about 40 quid or so just to do the whole thing, but it just means I can sort of forget the batteries, which is nice to do. So I've also invested in something called a Ulanzi side door for the GoPro Max. What I wanted to be able to do was to be able to plug in a USB-C port as I drove, and the only way you can do that on the GoPro Max is actually by taking off their side door. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to, I don't know if you can see that, you're trying to access that little USB-C port in there, and as I say, the only way you can do that, the only way you can actually attach a USB powered line into there, a C line, is actually to remove the door. So what this little modification does, this Ulanzi door, it's a locking steel door, and what I've been able to do, hopefully I can show you this. Yeah, if you just rest the camera there in the sort of the frame of the bike, is I took this, I managed to get from Hong Kong actually a USB C right-angled connector. Now it wouldn't actually fit, and I don't think you can sort of make out there, but I've actually filed it so it now fits. And basically what I can now do is I can now push that in, and that forms a pretty tight seal, to be honest. So I don't think water's going to get in there. I don't think that's going to be an issue. It is actually a rubber housing around the actual plug itself. And if you look carefully there, you can actually see that the yeah, there we are. If you look carefully, you can actually see the red light is actually just hold my hand over that so you can see that the red light is actually on. So the camera is actually now powered permanently, in effect. So I think that's quite a neat solution. And then what you've got to imagine then is with the seat on and with the tank mount, so very kindly donated by Cat and Mrs Harley. That actually sits there. You can see the cable runs underneath the seat. It would run up the tank, and then it's just long enough then to actually reach here and just sits in there permanently plugged in. So I've got a massive 256 gigabyte card in there as well. So essentially I can film all day and just forget about it now. So I think that's quite a neat little solution. And I'm now sort of getting to the stage on the Ducati where I've more or less got everything I want on it, I think. So apart from the crash protectors, which are going to fit on, and I think they basically are going to take these covers off and then undo the engine mounting bolt. So I've looked at the instructions for doing that. Got my sat nav fixed on, and again you might have seen the video on that. I took the power from the sat nav from a little connector underneath here, so again there's another video that shows you that if you're interested. I've also got my drift remote control on there, okay, and a few bits of bling as well. So I think functionally now the Ducati is basically where I want it to be. It clearly didn't come with as much sort of functional bling on as my R1200 RT had, but I've now got it to a stage where actually it does everything I want to, really. So, and if I want to go out for a day or two on a ride, and hopefully when COVID-19 clears up later on this summer I might be able to do that, I can just chuck a tail bag on the back and off I go. So that'll make an interesting little adventure, God willing. Yeah, so just a short video today. I trust everybody's staying safe. Our family's actually had the COVID-19, and my wife was quite ill. She has asthma, so she was quite breathless for probably 3 or 4 days actually, but that's passed. I actually reckon I had it back at Christmas, where for about 6 weeks I had quite a very, very dry cough, and didn't feel particularly well at all actually. And I wonder, I've spoken to a few people who actually wonder whether they had it as well. So I've been in the same house as my missus. She was diagnosed over the 111 National Health Service phone call system, and I've been in the house with her. I've sort of suffered no side effects. My son was actually out in Spain. He went out in Spain, he just needed a break, and literally got there just as this whole thing broke, so he just managed to get back, but then was ill for a week with quite high temperatures, and I think we think he's had it as well. So our household has had it. We've all survived by the grace of God. So obviously thoughts and prayers with you folks. Hope you stay safe. It is a hard time, isn't it? But maybe, you know, Easter time is just a time to think about more important things, eh? So God bless you all. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to your comments. Back to the bike, signing off, and I'll see you next time.